We'll wait like 2 minutes for people to get in here. Probably chicken pizza, bro.
You said what? Uh-oh.
I know you hungry, bro.
No, I'm actually good now, but I'm about to go eat after this.
What you eating?
Kava. Never had it before.
That don't even sound good.
What is it, like Mediterranean or some shit?
It's like Chipotle, kind of.
I might go try something else, and I don't know yet. Can't fix my camera while I'm already live, apparently.
We only got 2 people in here. Dang, I never had it before, but it don't look good to me.
A kava?
Yeah. I seen a picture of Dub eating that shit, or a video of Dub eating it. Alright, we gonna start, bro.
Hold on, my fucking shit done fucked up.
Don't mind what's on the screen right now.
Do you have the slide that I sent you, though?
Yeah, that's on there. It's on the next slide. I'm gonna let you talk about the rankings and how we did it. Well, say it first, actually. How the rankings were done.
Yo, so we're getting ready to get into our rankings. There was 11 of us on the committee. I made a post about a week ago, or Wednesday or whatever it was, about us changing our rankings format to kind of getting more of the coaches involved. And some of the guys that were interested, I had them react with a football. So Dane said he didn't see it. But yeah, that's just what it was. It was a basically, God damn, why does it keep doing that?
I'll just keep talking about it. Is what it is.
But anyways, I made a post. Guys reacted. We had about 11 people in there. Just want to give out a huge shout out to Coach Westside. He put it together, and he was kind of giving me his ideas and stuff like that, and things that we should add and stuff like that. So he kind of built this thing up, and we all have like a login, and we go in and we have everybody's, they have their games on there. They have, if it's a user game or a CPU, whether it was a force win or a fair sim. A lot of stuff played factor into like different types of stuff. I will say it was kind of unique that we had 11 different personalities in there when it came to creating their own rankings. Some guys, I mean, most of our rankings look pretty similar. Some guys might have had somebody at 9, and the other guys might have had that guy at 11. And then obviously on the next slide, you'll see how many people received first place votes, and kind of where they were the last rankings to where they are right now. We'll continue to do that. I thought it was pretty simple. I like the format way better. Usually just type our all the teams' rankings on our phones, and it's hard for me to see what that team's resume is without being on the game. The fact that I can just click on Steven's profile and it drops all of his games down, and I can see every one of the games that he played. It was kind of pretty cool, and it was kind of easy to kind of like, okay, I have the head-to-head over Bryce, but we're both 8-2. Where do they line up at, and you kind of can see their resume and stuff like that from there. But yeah, it was a pretty dope setup, and we're gonna probably use that going forward. The guys that are on it, hopefully they stay on it, because it seemed pretty easy for everybody. So we're not gonna. Whenever we get into these rankings, though, we usually go from 32 to 1. You'll see some people on there, like, let's say for an example, somebody was at number 1 last week, but they dropped 15 spots. They will be considered one of the biggest losers. So we'll talk about some guys, some surprises, like, do we expect any expectation or anything like that? But for the most part, we want to talk about the top 10 and kind of the biggest losers. If somebody was at 30 last week in the 30, like, for the previous whatever power rankings. We don't want to sit there and just keep talking about the same dude over and over. No knock to the people at 30, but if you've been at 30 for 5 power rankings, it's like we're just saying the same stuff, and people kind of just don't really get that much interested in our rankings anymore. And that's kind of why we kind of switch it up a little bit as well. Got more coaches involved, and yeah.
So I can move on.
Yeah, you got anything you want to say?
Nah. Only hopefully y'all can see that. That's very, very small.
Yeah, it's very fucking small now. Well, anyways,
Y'all
I
can
can't
zoom in.
even see it. To be honest with you.
Use your phone.
Look my photos right quick. My bad. All right, so I don't know. It didn't look like that on my phone, but for the most part, we like I said, it was a 30 to top 30 guys. We have 30 people in BYL. We have 2 people that are not allowed to accept jobs until the off season. So we are full, but 2 people are open right now. So said what Savage because he fucking cheated. And hey, you was in Dane's stream, man. We had a vote. I tried to bring your ass back. 17 of them said no. People in there that was saying free Savage voted against you.
And mind you, I don't think any commissioners voted. I know I didn't vote.
I didn't vote, but I mean,
I think Sterling
if they
actually
would have
voted for you.
Sterling voted, but I mean, if they would have, the votes would have been all been in favor of yes. I mean, he'd been back. But yeah, man, at number, I'm gonna start off talking about the biggest losers. And one of the biggest losers was UNLV. He was number 6 last rankings. We was really high on Mondo. I think he was 3-1 in our last rankings, and he's won 2 games and lost 3. So he's 2-3 in our last whatever since 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no way to justify, I guess, but Mondo was probably the biggest loser. Being from, I think he dropped 13 spots or something like that, which is probably one of the most. He was definitely one of the biggest losers. And then right beside him, another biggest loser was Tulane, who dropped, I think, like 14, 13 more spots. He was like 3-1 as well. But yeah, man, I mean, coming into the last rankings, I was kind of speaking on the some guys in the top 10. I feel like their resumes really wasn't really that high. Like they would like people was kind of like, why was Justin 5-1 and he was at 11. Well, here we are now, and Justin is 15, and hasn't won a game since the rankings. And if he has, it's only 1. He's 1-5 or 1-3 since the last rankings, or he might be 0-3. Yeah, my camera keeps
it's fine, bro.
Up, bro. But it is what it is. Maybe I just need to do this. I can't really. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, and then I think one of our biggest winners, we got to give a shout out to Trill. He coming into the rankings last week, I think he was 19, and he'd come off a loss to like Hawaii, a pretty bad loss to Georgia State, and then I believe he lost to Fredo as well. He was like 3-3. He hasn't lost a game since. He's starting to find his identity, establishing the run game, being real physical. He pretty much punched his ticket into the conference championship game. He's in it, right?
I might believe so.
Yeah, I think he punched his ticket to the Mountain West Conference Championship game against Sterling in New Mexico. So shout out to Trill. Definitely started to find his way. Last cycle, I know Trill was like 2 and like 11 or 9 or some shit like that, 2-10, and we were like, did Trill kind of fall off? I thought the same thing with him running the Wildcat. Like he ran the Wildcat against Fredo every snap. I thought he was going to be the same kind of Trill he was cycle 1 of last year. But he's figuring it out, and he's put himself in an opportunity to kind of win the conference championship. He's got to finish the season out strong. I think he got one more game left. We're going into our last. This is week 10. We're going into our last week, probably tonight. But yeah, you want to talk about anybody, Steven?
So I jumped up 8 spots from 16 to 8, and then lost to number 4 Tulsa today. So I think I had the biggest jump out of everybody.
Yeah, I think you, Trill, and myself were the top 3.
Trill jumped 7, you jumped 6, and
yeah,
I jumped 8.
I think it was like 8, 7, and 6.
But I mean, outside of that, I like the way that this coaches poll is going. My only thing is I just hope that it stays consistent. Like, are people going to be able to vote for, other people when they're losing, kind of thing? We have 11 people in there, so I think it's very easy to, and this is no shade to anybody, but I think it's very easy to vote when you're having a lot of success. And I mean, the people in our committee, I want to say, I know Pelf is in there, I know Dane's in there, I know Westside's in there, Brandon's in there, I'm in there, Fredo's in there, Sterling's in there,
Zach's in there.
Zach. So I mean,
15 is where the cutoff is. No, there's nobody on our committee below 15. So Justin.
So that's my point. Like, it's like all of us who are in the committee are in the top half of the league. So next season, when you are 1 and 2, like how I started off. Oh, Dane's not in the committee. Gotcha. If you're 1 and 2, how I started off, are you going to be able to vote without bias? That kind of thing. So hopefully we're able to do that. If so, then we can keep this format. But if it starts to get wonky, then we're going to go back to what we were doing before. Conference championship. I think we have in the American. I'm almost positive it's going to be Tulsa and USF. Those of you guys who didn't know it, in the new format for the playoffs, it doesn't matter who wins the conference championship anymore. The G5 level. I realized that yesterday. Yeah. So I know Dane was like, "Well, if I don't get into the conference championship, then I might not get jumped. If it's whatever is the highest ranked G5 team will get in. So if Zach, who's like number 18 or 17 or 18 or 19, if he makes it to top 12 and he doesn't get in a conference championship and he ends up top 12 and he's above everybody else, then he gets in. So it doesn't really matter anymore about conference championships. I think had I known that and had a few other people known that early in the cycle, they probably wouldn't have picked the way they picked. Because I mean, in theory, Pelf is, I think, is 11-0 now or 10-0, and I don't see a path for him getting to the playoffs. And I'm not gonna say I don't think it's right because he is in a weaker conference, but he'll be 13-0, and it is very likely that he won't jump Army, USF, and I think Utah State will catch him. I think Tulsa's even going to catch him. That's just because of the strength of the conference. So when we have a 10-2 Army in the playoffs over a 13-0 Sam Houston conference championship winner, obviously it's going to be frustrating. But I mean, like I said, I think the conference championships are starting to shake out. I also don't believe that a bunch of people are going to get job offers. I don't see it's going to happen. But we'll just have to see.
Realistically, you'd rather just get in. You don't want to play to get in. That's not what people want to do. Let's be honest here. It's football. You want a free ride as you can.
But see,
you don't want it. If you can get into the playoffs without playing Tulsa, you should want that. Like, at the end of the day, our goal is to make the playoffs. We're not here to prove points.
Hold on. You got to understand, though, like, when people are not in this position, they start saying shit that, like, don't make sense, bro.
Yeah, that's like, one of them.
You just start saying shit that just don't make any sense, bro.
Yeah.
But like I said, hopefully we have a strong start, a strong finish to the season. Hopefully we can get through the last or this week tonight. So we're heading into the final week outside of Army Navy. And then hopefully by about Wednesday or so we're at bowl week 1 or conference championship, around that timetable. Next weekend would be ideal to be off season. So hopefully everybody get there. Let us know if you have any questions or anything.
Texas State, they're going to play for their shot at playing Utah State in the conference championship, and then obviously myself, Georgia State has clinched the I think it's the East, and then the West will come down to Louisiana Monroe and Marshall. If Marshall loses that game, then UNLM will get in. If Marshall wins that game, then Willie will get in. And then I think, like Steven spoke earlier about the American, is kind of only if Tulsa can beat the CPU and UTSA. But there's something that's kind of cool because we usually don't see this in the first year, but we have 3 Heisman people in the top 4 for our, which is Utah State's running back, Javon Jacobs or whatever the fuck his name is, and then Jaheim White for North Texas, and then I got my running back in there, Xavier Butler, as well. So usually don't see that many users in the Heisman race on the very first season. But I mean, there's 3 of us in there. I think Trinidad is in there. Yeah, Trinidad is in there as well. And they're the #1 team in the country. So if they win, I wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't give it to them. But that's kind of cool to see some more users get in there as a year 1. But yeah, like Steven said, we're going to be going into the conference championship week soon.
I want to add something. We need to make sure. So this is obviously our first off season in this game. This off season might take a little bit longer. Everybody needs to be considerate of everybody's time. If you're on the game, and we have this shit happening in the middle of the season as well. If you're on the game, bro, and you're the last game we're waiting on, and then you play, and you play a CPU next, or your opponent is saying, yo, can you play? Please stop doing this thing where you're like, no, I can play tomorrow night, because then we're waiting for you again. And then you get on, then tomorrow night you get on, then you play that game.
We're about to have like a 14-hour advance.
Like
we advanced this morning, and we're about to advance again tonight.
When we get to off season,
we see too many times where people are just waiting, and it's mainly La Tech. I'm not gonna hold you, it's La Tech.
When we get to the off season, if we're at a point where it's like, okay, everybody got to do their transfer portal, and we waited all day for John Smith to do his transfer portal, he does it, we advance, then he doesn't do his next transfer portal, and he's already on the game. And then the next day, it's like, why are we waiting for John Smith again to do it when he was on last night? We advanced as soon as he got done. So y'all just got to make sure y'all on top of it, because there's 29 other people in here that are trying to move. At the end of the day, it's like everybody has remote play. If you don't have remote play, figure it out. We've been in this league for 2-3 years at this point. Like, there should be no reason why you can't get on remote play and do recruiting. It takes literally 5 minutes, or
Bryce,
convince your players, encourage your players, whatever the case may be.
Somebody, because Bryce can't do remote play because he can't log into his shit, but he can call somebody and figure it out. But hopefully, we can keep the way we finished all the season last year was a 12, advance at 10 a.m., advance again at 10 p.m. If we can do that again, I think we'll kind of go through the off season pretty well. I like that whole idea. To answer your question, Josh, I brought it up at the very beginning of the season, but the fact that they still had it in there, and we just didn't want to do too much year 1.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't realign. Yeah. So what I didn't want to do is go in and make alterations to the Sun Belt. Because then, let's say hypothetically, we remove the divisions, and then Willie is in one side of the conference. He goes, 6-1, and then Bryce goes 6-1. But in reality, Bryce should have never made it. So it's like, that's why we didn't want to touch it. If we're not going to realign, then we're not going to realign. We can't pick and choose what we want to add and take off. So that's why we just left it as is. Because at the end of the day, there's a pro and con to everything. Like I said, if we would have changed it, then Willie would have missed the playoffs. They have
divisions in real life.
Yeah, so it's like we just left it how it is.
Yeah.
But that's gonna wrap up the show. If you guys have CPU games, go knock them out. Hopefully Sterling plays this game. I know his birthday's tomorrow, so he's saying he's gonna play tomorrow. I don't know how he's gonna play tomorrow if his birthday's tomorrow. So I'm not sure. Hopefully they just play the game tonight with Trill, so that way we can move. But let us know in the comment section if you guys have any questions, concerns, recommendations. If not, we will see y'all boys in the Discord. Peace out.